Hello, I'm Alex and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is a place where I talk about what I've been making each month, and I've got a few knitting projects to share with you today. So I'm going to start by talking about what I'm wearing. This is a pattern by Ozetta called the Field Day Cardigan, and I knit this using Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Sport Weight, and it's the Mink Heather colourway. And I've got a blog post on the modifications that I made. I made a couple of slight tweaks to the sleeve. I actually was knitting at a slightly different gauge to what the pattern called for. So yeah, I've put some notes together on what changes I made. I have used these sort of, I think maybe they look, I don't know, what do you call them? Are they horn buttons when they look like that? But these were some buttons that were in my grandma's stash, and it's really special to have those buttons on my cardigan. I really love the button band, actually. Talking about the buttons, you knit, it's really interesting construction, and you knit the button band as you go, so there's no picking up of stitches when you get to the point where you finished your body. You're working this button band, and the neck sits really nicely around the shoulders and the collar, and that was a feature of the pattern that I actually really enjoyed. So I would recommend, if you're looking for a V-neck, it's sort of slightly cropped with this deep ribbing. It's a really nice knit. I wear mine loads. Actually, that's a good point. I've been wearing this so much. It's kind of thing, at this time of year, I kind of almost wear it like a jacket. So I kind of, if I'm popping out and it's a bit cooler in the mornings or the evenings, or like today where I just feel like you need a little bit of something over like a dress, or I often wear just a white t-shirt and jeans, it's a really nice weight, and it's a light colour, so I don't feel weird wearing knitwear in the summer. I kind of think it has a slight summery feel because it's this really light oatmeal shade. So yeah, it's something that I really like. And I mentioned that I have a blog post, so that will be linked in the show notes. Show notes you can find just below this video. I'll have a link there. You can go over to the blog. All the patterns, yarns that I talk about today will be there, and there's actually a special newsletter that I send out, so people that enjoy these videos can sign up for the show notes newsletter, and every time a video goes live I send out an email to those people, and I put all the links right there in the email, so before you even click over to the video you can see what I'm chatting about that week. So if you want to sign up for that, that will be just below this video as well. So I've got a couple of little housekeeping bits, so bear with me for a minute, or if you're super impatient to see the knitting, I guess you can skip ahead, but I really love it if you could just stick around and listen to these couple of bits. So firstly, I'd love it if you could leave me a comment if you saw an advert for this video. So I mentioned a few months ago that YouTube were changing their sort of policy on adverts, and for people like me that are not signed up for the ad program, they were now going to be able to put adverts on your channel even if you're not signed up for ads, and basically they just keep the ad revenue and they don't give you a cut. So yeah, I was very interested to see if they actually were putting adverts on all of my videos. I've noticed when I'm checking that this is uploaded right, I'm seeing adverts every time now, so very interested to know if you guys are seeing adverts on all of my videos, because last time there were a few people that were seeing ads, but it definitely wasn't everybody, and it seemed to make a difference where you were in the world as well. So yeah, let me know if you saw an advert. And the next thing is I've started a Patreon. So if you're on my Instagram or on my newsletter, you'll have heard me mention my Patreon because it started on the 1st of June. And yeah, I wanted to chat a little bit about it here because it's quite hard to describe in words something like this and why you're doing it and what's over there. So it's not changing any of the things I'm doing here on YouTube or on any of the other places that you see me. That's all going to stay the same. The Patreon's in addition to that. So Patreon is where all my creative work's going to sit. So over there I'm sharing more behind the scenes of my business. If you're new here, I make and sell project bags. So like this, got project bag business where I design the fabric, I screen print the fabric, and I turn them into bags and accessories for makers. So I'm going to be sharing more behind the scenes of that, sharing more of the design process, which I feel is a little bit easier to share in that kind of setting. It's almost like a little private group where I feel a bit more comfortable sharing things that are maybe not ready to be launched yet, or ideas that I'm working on that maybe never come to light, because that definitely happens, that you have ideas, or sometimes you have ideas and it can take a whole year before it goes anywhere. So I might be sharing a few things like that. I'll be definitely sharing more of my art practice, and it's been really nice. The people that are in there already, that's something that they've told me they really want to see. So sharing more of my painting and drawing and practice is something that I definitely need to do. So I'm not claiming to be the sort of perfect artist, but it's sort of following that journey and seeing, I guess, me improve and seeing what I'm doing and what kind of exercises I do each month. It's definitely something that I try and do for fun. My design work is very much, I have an idea in mind, and that's what I have an end result when I'm working on design things. But when I talk about my art practice, I'm more talking about like the hobby kind of side of doing art, that I feel like it's really important to explore and try new things, and that's how your style develops. So yeah, that's something that I'm sharing over there. I've got things like, there's a video up there at the moment where I go to the V&A for the day and I take you along with me, and I've got a chat that I posted, so it's a little bit like a podcast. I did a talk on my background and how I got to where I am today, like what kind of training I've had to start my business. So if you're interested in that, you can go over and listen. Patreon, if you're new to it, it is it's a membership platform that is like a paid community. So most of the people will sign up and you pay a monthly fee to access all of that exclusive posts and videos, and anything that goes there is just for the members. But I've made everything in May available for free. So even if you're not interested in signing up and committing to sort of paying for that, you can go over, have a look, see what I've been up to in May, and all of those posts have been put public for everybody to view. But then if you want to see what's coming in June, July and all the future posts, then that's something that you can sign up for, and it's a pay what you can model. So I don't have different tiers, it's just you decide what you pay and it auto renews monthly. So on the 1st of every month you get billed and you get access to everything that's in there, so all the posts, videos. Then if you're familiar with Patreon, you'll know sometimes people have different tiers, and if you pay a certain amount you can see these posts, and if you pay a little bit more you get access to these posts. That's not what mine's like, it's just a flat rate, so whatever you decide that you'd like to pay. The suggested fee set by Patreon is £5, but you can pay more, that'd be amazing. You can pay less if that's not in your budget, but you really want to see what I'm doing over there. I'd love to have you there. Don't feel bad if you can't do the full £5, but equally those of you that have pledged more, like, it's really, really nice way for you to support me. And it was really nice to have some people join this week. I actually ran a special for the people that did join on my newsletter and Instagram, and I feel like I can't leave you guys out. So anybody that signs up, I've made these lovely little note cards. So I'm going to send a little thank you to anybody that signs up today and joins the Patreon. I'll send you a little welcome and thank you card in the mail. These I did with watercolour and pencil, and each one's different. They're just a little note card to say thank you. So I will send those wherever you are in the world. If you pledge the £5 or over, then you will get a card. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, come on over, have a look, see what I'm doing over there. It's something that, one of the reasons why I decided to put that on Patreon is that I find it so difficult to capture the behind the scenes and the creative work. It's something that people make look really easy on Instagram. When you see people doing like a pack with me video or showing you how they make stuff, it looks so effortless, but I find it a really difficult part of what I do. It's something that I've wanted to share, and I have tried to a little bit. You'll see me post things in stories and sometimes on my Instagram, but it's actually very difficult for me to I guess it's a personality type thing. For me, when I'm working, say I'm on a sewing day, I'm so into what I'm doing in the sewing, it feels really jarring to kind of pull myself out of that and think, oh, I'm going to take a photo, or I'm going to get a little bit of video of this, because anybody that's tried to capture something on video or even just take a simple photo knows it's not as easy as just pulling out your camera and having something that's worthy enough to put on Instagram, because you need to make sure the light's right, you've got the angle right. Is my tripod there? Am I in the frame? Especially if it's something where I'm sewing, it's very difficult. I'm in quite a small space. I'm not sure how it looks on the camera, but it's quite a small space that I'm working in. And yeah, it's just very challenging. So it feels right that if that's something that people really want and there's a demand for it, and there's that incentive if people are signing up to my Patreon for me to plan a little bit and think, okay, people really want to see this, it's worth me stopping or planning and thinking, okay, today's a day where I'm going to capture some of that behind the scenes of what I'm doing, whether it's doing a design or working on a new print or something. It would be at the forefront of my mind because I know there's a group of people that really want to see that and they're invested in seeing it, rather than me capturing it and taking a lot of time sometimes to sort of create any videos or photos of what I'm doing and not really knowing if it's something that people want to see, if it's worth my time taking away from that. Whereas I'm kind of almost seeing it like, so say at the moment I've got a group of patrons in there and they've pledged, I think the total is about £50 at the moment when you're seeing this, and from that I get about £40 after fees. So I kind of in my mind think, okay, 2 hours you could set aside to create all the content for the people in Patreon, and that's something that will just grow. The more people that are there, then the more time I can spend sort of creating that content and taking videos and showing you what I'm doing, and I'm hoping that it will be something that will grow and I'll spend more time because it's something that I really want to share with you if that's something you want to see. It's just when you're in a small business, you have to kind of weigh up these things. Where do you put your time each day? Do I sew another bag I can sell? Do I do something with Patreon? Do I put something on an Instagram? And nothing's going to change on these platforms. So if you like what I'm doing already, don't feel that you have to sign up for the Patreon if this is what you're enjoying. YouTube's still going to be the place where I share what I'm making each month. On Instagram, you can follow me I share my works in progress, and I share my finished object photos, and I share sort of shop news as well. So that's the place for that. And as you know, I've mentioned my newsletter before. If you are signed up to my newsletter, that's where you get shop updates and shop news. So all those things are going to be the same. Patreon's very much for those people that are just really interested in getting that behind the scenes look and really following more of my creative work that I do. So if that's something you're really interested in, I think the Patreon is a really great place to come on over and see what I'm doing. So thank you if you've listened to this little Patreon part, because I'm really excited and I really wanted to share this with you. So yeah, as I mentioned before, if you sign up and you pledge £5 or more, I'm going to send out one of these cards, and when I put this video up, it's going to be Sunday, so I'll keep that open till Monday night, so say midnight on Monday. If you sign up before that and you let me know your address, and I will send you out one of those welcome cards. Right, so on to the knitting. I finished a pair of socks, so I'll show you those first. These are At the Vicarage by This Handmade Life, and it's a really lovely, simple lace, really easy chart to follow. I think the trickiest bit is wrangling on one of the rows. There's a yarn over on the end of a row, so that's probably the hardest bit, is just wrangling, having a yarn over at the end of a row. But apart from that, if you can do increases and decreases and you can knit and purl, you can definitely do these socks. It has a really simple heel to use. I think I asked last time what kind of heel people thought this was, and I'm sure people were telling me it was the Flegel heel, but yeah, I really love this method of heel. So if you're a new sock knitter, this is a really good one to try because it's very intuitive method. There's no wrapping and turning. It grows really nicely, and it looks wide in this area. I don't know, when I blocked it the first time I did one of these shorty socks, I thought it wasn't going to fit, but it's actually a really nice fit. And this little what do they call that? Is it a twisted rib when it's like this? When you knit through the back loop, there's a little twisted rib cuff that really cinches it around your ankle, so it has a lovely feel. And I love this warm shade of grey. So I think it was 5660 Cascade Heritage Solids, and it's a really nice yarn to work with. Very soft socks, and they last really well. So I've worn all the pairs that I've been knitting with this yarn for months and months and months, and they've held up really well to washing and wearing. So yeah, really pleased with how those are going. So I've got another Cascade Heritage project. So I've got Tiny Weenie Baby Hat, and this is actually called For the Tiniest, and this is in the white, can't remember exactly which white shade this is, but there's like a warm white and a cool white. This is the cool more like a snow white. And the pattern for the tiniest is by Cindy McDonald. It has this cute little top knot, and it's become one of my go-to baby knitting patterns alongside the baby blanket that you saw me show last week, the Twinkle Twinkle baby blanket. This is another really great gift knit, so it's quite quick to knit up because it's so small. It comes in a range of sizes, so this is newborn, but it also has some preemie sizes, which is why I ended up having the pattern, because I was looking at knitting preemie baby hats last year for my friend. And yeah, if you watched those videos and you saw those hats, babies are doing really, really well. They're not in hospital anymore and they're home with mum and dad and doing really, really well. So yeah, it was a lovely lovely to know that they appreciated the hats and that they were keeping them warm at that time when they were really, really tiny in the hospital. But this is for my sister's baby, so I've got a niece or a nephew coming in the next week. It's really, really soon, so this is why I'm showing you. I'm filming today so I can take the hat to her tomorrow, and yeah, I can give it to her for the hospital bag, because yeah, baby's coming imminently. And smelling really nice because I've got one of my lavender pouches in there, so that's been nestled up inside it. It's smelling lovely. So another thing I've got in here is my Kunos cushion, which I showed last time, and this is a pattern by Anna Wenzel. As I said, I'll leave show notes below, but this is the Vilcalana yarn. I'm using black and natural white, and this will be seamed, so you're knitting in the round, and this will be seamed here. And yeah, it's basically like a rectangular shaped pillow that I think is going to end up with the dimensions being about 50 centimetres by 30. And I'm loving how it's turning out, the stripes and the stitch. So it's slips and knits, and it's creating a really lovely woven texture. I think it looks much more like a woven cushion than a knit cushion, which I really, really like. And the yarn's been nice to work with, the pattern's really easy to follow. And yeah, I'm really, really going along quite quickly on that. I put that aside to do the baby hat, and I'll show you. I've been working on my hand sweater, but before then I'll quickly give you a look. This is sat in one of my Summerberry bags, which I love. This is one of my favourite bags. I've done this in the tote bag style, the top handled tote, and I've also done a pink version. There's still the green and the grey, but I've done a pink version for 2022. So those are new in the shop, and yeah, it's always a quieter time, I think. If you're watching this, you're probably one of the hardcore knitters like me that knits all year round, but I definitely see a slowdown over the summer months. I think it is a seasonal business, and a lot of knitters are not buying project bags and yarn and things at this time of year. So I always find that the Summerberry bags are never as popular as some of the winter designs I do, but I don't think it's any less special. In fact, it's one of my favourites because it's a more recent print. I feel like I learnt a lot when I came to designing this, and the pattern flows really well. It has a really nice line weight to it. It prints very nice and crisply. I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's behind some of the, in the centre of the flowers, it has a little gold accent. So there's little gold bits sprinkled throughout. And I just think, yeah, it's a lovely summer print. So if you are a knitter that likes to knit during the summer and you need a project bag, have a look in the shop because these are so beautiful. They're one of my favourites, and I think they need a little bit more love. So go over there and have a look in the shop and show them some love. So I wanted to chat to you about pillows, leading on from this one, and I've got pictures to show you. So I've come across this, let's have a look. It is... I've got it on my Etsy. Where is it? Here we go. It's called the Labadee, and this is crocheted. And I'd love the people that crochet to let me know if you think this is doable for a very inexperienced new crocheter, because I have done a little bit of crochet before. I've done a coaster. I've done this little guy, if you remember him, and to be honest, I really struggled with this. This was quite challenging for me to follow the pattern. I mean, I could do the crochet stitches and I can follow a YouTube tutorial, but I found the pattern quite hard to follow. And yeah, I'm just wondering if you think that kind of, it's got that sort of diamond shape and with those bobbles, if you think that would be a good pattern for a newbie crocheter to have a go at. I guess really when I was knitting, that's how I learnt to knit, was just picking things that were challenging but that I really wanted the finished product. So maybe that's what I need to do for crochet. And like I did with this toy, I really wanted this, so I did. I just kind of put my head down, kept unraveling, kept trying again, and kept going until I got it right. And I did get it right with him. So, and I love how this turned out. So cute. I'll put I can't remember what this is called, but I'll put the pattern to him in the show notes as well. So yeah, if you're a crocheter, let me know in the comments what you think about that. I think that one would go really nicely if I knit it in the natural white shade in the Fil Kalana, and I envision the stripy one to be kind of the bigger pillow at the back, and then to have the diamond in a slightly smaller pillow size, and have them both on the same chair so they kind of complement each other. But I think the texture of that diamond is really interesting. I'm just not sure if that kind of bobble stitch is a hard one for a newbie, so let's see. So next thing I've got to show you is my hand sweater, and that's in one of my spring edition bags. Han is something I've been working on for ages, so you might have seen it in my last few videos. It's a pattern by Julie Hoover, and I have, since I spoke to you last, worked from this little pink marker all the way here. So I've done quite a few inches, and it's growing, as you can see. The yarn I'm using is West Yorkshire Spinners Exquisite. It's a Falkland merino with 20% silk, so it has a lovely, it actually feels quite cool, but it has a really light feel. It has a nice warmth and slight woolliness, but it is a lace weight yarn, so it definitely has that kind of very fine summer feel. And at this gauge and with this stitch pattern, it's feeling really lovely and drapey. But I'm feeling a little bit worried about this one because it's a seamed sweater that's knit bottom up, so I haven't been able to try it as I go, and it's really taking a long time. I think I knew it was going to when I started, and I've been enjoying it, but I've spent so many hours already, and I can only imagine how many months and hours the finished piece is going to take, and I just have the fear that I'm going to spend all that time and I'm not going to like the finished sweater, that it won't fit or something won't be right, whereas usually I could adjust things as I go. If it was top down, I just have a little bit more confidence. But if I'm honest, I've had cold feet about projects before, and I don't think I've ever knit a garment that I haven't loved, so yeah, I don't know why I'm stressing about it. I've been telling myself to stay positive, keep working on it, don't give up, because that's something I've done before, is that I'll kind of put something aside if I'm a little bit unsure about it, and then it takes me longer and longer to finish the project, and then I get to the end and I'm like, why did I wait so long to finish this? Because it's perfect and I love it, so I'm not going to let that happen to this. So yeah, I think those are all my projects. If you've been enjoying the video, give it a like, and yeah, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and then you won't miss any of the other episodes that I put out. I try and stop in once a month and let you know what I've been working on, and I love to hear what you're working on, so leave a comment, let me know where you are in the world. It's really nice being able to sort of visualise there's real people watching, and when I hear where you are and what you're doing and what projects you're working on, it kind of brings this whole community over here to life. So yeah, check out the Patreon that I was talking about earlier. There's been lots I've covered today, hasn't there? And don't forget show notes below here as well. I think that's everything that I've got to say. Covered all the housekeeping. All that's left for me to do is go away, have my cup of tea, and yeah, I think I'm going to work on my cushion because it's the end of the day. So I hope you have a great week, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye bye.